A lot of first time home buyers are quietly removing Surrey from their home search. Not because Surrey has no future. Actually, Surrey has one of the strongest long term growth stories in British Columbia. Population growth is still happening, SkyTrain is still expanding, a new medical school is coming, major infrastructure is being built. But here is the problem: buyers today are no longer buying based on hype. They are asking a very different question. Not how much money will this property make me? They are asking, can I actually live here? And that one question is changing the way people look at Surrey. Whether it is Cloverdale, Clayton, Fleetwood, Sullivan, Newton, or Guildford. Before we move forward, my name is Roshan Victor. I'm a local realtor here in the Fraser Valley. And if you're thinking of buying or selling in the Fraser Valley and want to know what your options are in the current market, there's a link in my description below to book a one on one consult with me. And if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can be updated on every single video that I put out pertaining to our local market of the Fraser Valley. Today, I want to talk about something I'm seeing again and again with buyers. 5 years ago, when someone called me about buying in Surrey, the conversation was completely different. The focus was usually investments. And the question they would ask is, Roshan, which area has the most upside? Where will prices go up the fastest? Where can I buy today and sell in the next 3 to 5 years for a profit? And that was the mindset for a lot of people looking at Surrey, especially in the Surrey Central area. A lot of buyers were not thinking too deeply about the day to day lifestyle. They were not always thinking about the commute, the street, the parking, the noise, the density, or how the neighborhood could actually feel after moving in. They were thinking about appreciation. But today, that mindset has changed. And I think this is one of the biggest shifts in the Fraser Valley real estate market right now. Buyers are no longer just chasing future pricing growth. They are looking at quality of life. They want to know, can I raise my family here? Does this area feel safe? How long is the commute really going to be? Can I walk outside comfortably? Are there parks, schools, groceries, restaurants, and amenities close to me? Will I still be happy living here 5 to 10 years from now? And that is why Surrey versus Langley conversation has become so interesting. Because Surrey still has a lot of long term upside, but Langley, especially Willoughby, is winning a lot of buyers right now because it feels easier to say yes. Let me be very clear. This is not a video to bash Surrey. I work in Surrey, I sell in Surrey. I have clients buying in Surrey, and there are still very good neighborhoods in Surrey to consider. Surrey is not some weak market with no future. In fact, if you look at the bigger picture, Surrey still has a very strong long term story. The population is growing, city is expanding, there is a major investment going into transit, healthcare, education, roads, recreation, and community infrastructure. The Surrey Langley SkyTrain extension is under construction. SFU's new medical school is expected to bring more education and healthcare focused into Surrey. Surrey City Centre continues to grow as a major urban hub. And over the long term, Surrey is expected to become one of the most important cities in British Columbia. So the fundamentals are still there. But here is where buyers are getting more careful. A city can have a strong long term growth and still have certain pockets that buyers hesitate. Both things can be true. Surrey can be a major growth story, and at the same time, some buyers can still say, I'm not sure this area fits my family. I do not like the commute. I do not like the street feel. I do not like the density. I am concerned about safety. I would rather be in Langley. And that is the reality I'm hearing in the market. The biggest difference between 2021 and today is the buyer psychology. In 2021, buyers were more willing to compromise. Interest rates were low, prices were moving quickly, inventory was tight, and there was a strong fear of missing out. So buyers would often say, let me just get into the market. I will buy this for now. I will upgrade later. And as long as it grows up in value, I am okay. But in today's market, that is not how most buyers are thinking. Mortgage payments are high, cost of living is higher, buyers are more cautious, inventory is higher, and people know they may have to live with this decision longer than they originally planned. So they are thinking differently. They are not asking only about appreciation, they are asking about livability. That is why neighborhood feel matters so much more today. And this is where Surrey becomes very pocket specific. Now, let me be clear, South Surrey is not the same as Surrey Central. Clayton is not the same as Newton. Fraser Heights is not the same as Guildford. And Cloverdale is definitely not the same as Wally. But many buyers do not always look at Surrey that way. They hear the word Surrey and they already have an opinion. Sometimes that opinion comes from news, sometimes it comes from friends and family, sometimes it comes from one bad experience, sometimes it comes from driving through one part of the city and assuming the entire city is exactly the same. And that's not always fair. But in real estate, perception matters. And right now, Surrey has a perception challenge with some buyers. Now let's talk about where Surrey still makes sense, because there are definitely areas where buyers still should not dismiss Surrey. Surrey City Centre and King George. And if you are a condo buyer and affordability is important, Surrey City Centre still makes sense because prices are dropping by the hour and inventory is at its peak. You have access to SkyTrain, you have access to Holland Park, you have shopping, groceries, restaurants, and most of the condo options that are available are in newer concrete towers. And for people working downtown or Vancouver and want to live near the transit and need convenience, this is a great spot to be in. Yes, it comes with a few compromises. Just because I said that this is a good option does not mean you do not need to do your due diligence. Make sure you do your due diligence by yourself or consult your real estate professional to help you and guide you through that process. And even in Surrey Central, you have to be very specific on which building or which block you're buying. One building may be excellent, one street may feel very convenient, and a few blocks away, the feeling can change completely. So if you're buying in Surrey Central, do not only look at the unit, walk the area, go there at different times of the day, check the building, check the strata documents, check the parking, check the noise. Also, you need to check how it feels walking to the SkyTrain. Because when you buy a condo, you're not just buying inside of the unit. You are buying the building, the street, the walkability, and the lifestyle. Let's talk about Fleetwood quickly. It's another area that still holds a strong appeal. However, of late we have seen the demand for townhouses in Fleetwood dropping. It has established neighborhoods, parks, schools, detached homes, townhouses, and a strong family feel in many pockets. And with the SkyTrain extension coming along Fraser Highway, Fleetwood could become even more connected over time. But there is also a trade off. Transit brings convenience, but it also brings construction, more density, more traffic, and a different feel over time. So if you are buying in Fleetwood, you need to be clear on your reasons. Are you buying because you want a family neighborhood today? Or are you buying because you believe in the future transit upside? Or are you buying because it gives you a balance of both? That clarity is important. Fraser Heights is still one of Surrey's strongest established detached homes community. You get bigger homes, good access to Highway 1, and more residential feel. For many families, Fraser Heights still checks a lot of boxes. Guildford is different. Guildford gives you amenities. You have Guildford Town Centre, restaurants, shopping, transit, highway access nearby. But Guildford also is very pocket specific. Some areas make sense. Some areas require caution. Some buildings are good. Some buildings need deeper review. So with Guildford, you really need to know exactly what you're buying. On the other hand, South Surrey and White Rock are probably amongst the strongest lifestyle areas in the entire Fraser Valley. You have beaches, trails, parks, golf, school, restaurants, and a complete different feel from Central Surrey. A lot of buyers who say they do not want Surrey will still consider South Surrey. Why? because it does not feel like the Surrey they had in mind. But the challenge is price out here. Surrey and White Rock have a higher price per square feet than many parts of Surrey and even Langley. So a lot of buyers love the area, but they cannot always get the size of home they want within their budget. That is when they start looking for other options and Cloverdale and Clayton comes up. This is where I see a lot of buyers changing their mindset. Many buyers tell me, Roshan, we do not want Surrey. Then I show them Clayton and Cloverdale, and the conversation changes because Clayton and Cloverdale do not feel like the Surrey many buyers are trying to avoid. Clayton feels very connected to Langley. You're closer to Willoughby, you're close to Langley shopping, you're close to gyms, groceries, restaurants, parks, and schools. And for many buyers, Clayton becomes the more affordable alternative to Willoughby. Cloverdale gives them more of an established family neighborhood feel, detached homes, townhomes, more space in certain pockets, a bit more of that community feeling. So the buyers who want Langley but are priced out of Willoughby, Clayton and Cloverdale often becomes a very strong option for them. And in some cases, I actually think it is a smarter buy. Now let's quickly talk about Langley and why is it winning. And I want to be more specific on Willoughby. Willoughby is one of the most requested areas from buyers I speak to. And honestly, I understand why. It has newer condos, newer townhomes, newer detached homes, good highway access. Willoughby Town Centre is close by, Langley Event Centre is close by, parks, schools, restaurants, grocery stores, and the entire area has a family oriented feel. And for many buyers, Willoughby feels newer, cleaner, and easier to understand. It feels like a planned community. And that matters, especially for families moving from Vancouver, Burnaby, Richmond, Coquitlam, or even outside of BC. They come to Willoughby and they say, this feels good, feels newer, this feels family friendly, this feels like a place we can settle. And then there is the commute. If you live in Willoughby, getting onto Highway 1 is usually fairly convenient depending on where you are. That is the big deal. Because commuting from middle of Surrey can be frustrating. You may have to deal with red lights, bridges, traffic, congestion, and long routes just to get to the highway. But buyers are thinking about that now. They are not just thinking about the open house on Sunday. They're thinking about Monday morning commute. They're thinking about school drop offs. They're thinking about getting to work. They're thinking about grocery runs. And they're thinking about how much time they will spend sitting in traffic. That daily experience matters. And for a lot of buyers, Willoughby simply feels easier. But let me also say this, Langley is not perfect. Willoughby has become expensive. There is traffic, there is construction, there is density. There are school capacity pressures, there are parking issues in some townhome complexes, there are strata buildings that need to be reviewed carefully. So do not buy into Willoughby just because everyone is talking about it and your friends are buying into it. You have to do your homework. But right now, for many buyers, Langley feels like the best lifestyle choice. That is why the demand has shifted. The biggest mistake buyers make in judging an entire city is with one opinion. They say, I do not want Surrey, or Langley is always better. South Surrey is too expensive. Clayton is technically Surrey, so I don't want to consider it. That is too simple. Real estate does not work that way. There are good pockets in Surrey and can be better than a bad buy in Langley. A strong property in Clayton can be smarter than overpaying in Willoughby. A well located condo near King George SkyTrain can make more sense for the right buyer, and a detached home in Cloverdale can be a great family decision. A townhome in Fleetwood can work very well if the location, layout, strata, and future transit plans make sense. So the question is not, is Surrey good or bad? The question is, which part of Surrey are we talking about? And even more importantly, what are you trying to achieve? Are you buying for lifestyle? Are you buying for schools? Are you buying for commute? Are you buying for long term growth? Or are you buying for affordability? Are you buying because you need space? Because the right answer changes depending on the buyer. That is why you cannot make the decision based on headlines. You have to look at the actual property, the actual street, the commute, the building, and the actual long term plan. Here's my take. Surrey still has a strong long term fundamental. The population growth is real. Transit investments are happening right in front of your eye. Medical schools are coming in. The infrastructure investments are real. Affordability advantages is real at this time. And buyers are more selective today. They are no longer buying just because an area might go up in value. They want to feel good living there and they want better commute. They want safety, they want schools, they want parks, they want convenience. They want neighborhoods that fit their family. That is why Langley, especially Willoughby, is winning a lot of buyers right now. And that is also why Clayton and Cloverdale are benefiting. If you are looking and considering Langley, I would strongly recommend you to consider Clayton and Cloverdale at the same time because they sit right on the Surrey Langley border. They give buyers a bit of both the worlds, more affordability than Willoughby in some cases, and still closer to the Langley amenities. That is the real story. It is not Surrey is finished. It is not Langley is perfect. It is that buyers have changed. And when buyers change, the market changes with them. So if you're thinking about buying in Surrey, Langley, Clayton, Cloverdale, Fleetwood, South Surrey, or anywhere in the Fraser Valley, do not make your decision based on the city name alone. Do your research, drive the area, walk the neighborhood, visit it during the day and in the twilight hours. Check the commute, check the future development, check the strata, the school, the resale potential, and most importantly, make sure that the home fits your actual life. And if you want to not think about all of what I've said, there's a link in my description below. Let's chat about your requirements and I can guide you through this entire process. I'm Roshan Victor. I'm a local realtor here in the Fraser Valley. If you haven't done so just as yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you're updated on every single video that I put out. Until the next one,